The crisp October morning in downtown Seattle brought with it the familiar scent of coffee and rain-soaked pavement. Maya Chen adjusted her white cane as she stood before the towering glass building of Meridian Creative Agency, one of the city's most prestigious marketing firms. At 26, she had faced countless rejections, but her determination never wavered. "You must be Maya," said receptionist Jennifer, her voice carrying a barely concealed note of surprise. "Mr. Richardson will see you in conference room B." Maya nodded politely, following the sound of Jennifer's heels clicking against the marble floor. She had memorized the building's layout from their website's virtual tour, counting steps and noting the echo patterns that would guide her through the space. Conference room B smelled of leather chairs and fresh flowers. Maya settled into her seat, her portfolio bag resting beside her. She had prepared extensively for this interview, researching the company's recent campaigns and practicing her responses. "Ms. Chen," came the voice of David Richardson, the hiring manager. His tone was professional but guarded. "I have to admit, when HR forwarded your application, I wasn't sure how practical this would be." Maya straightened her shoulders. "Mr. Richardson, I have a master's degree in marketing communications from University of Washington, 3 years of freelance experience, and I've increased client engagement by an average of 40% across all my projects." "That's impressive on paper," Richardson replied, shuffling through documents. "But our work here is highly visual. We create billboard campaigns, digital advertisements, social media content. How exactly would you contribute to visual projects?" "Marketing isn't just about what people see," Maya responded confidently. "It's about what they feel. I understand consumer psychology, brand positioning, and emotional triggers better than most because I experience the world through different senses. When I analyze a campaign, I focus on the message, the emotion, the connection with the audience." Richardson's assistant, Brian, whispered something inaudible. Maya heard papers rustling, followed by an uncomfortable silence. "Ms. Chen, I appreciate your enthusiasm," Richardson finally said, "but I think you'd be better suited for a company with different needs. We'll be in touch." The interview lasted only 15 minutes. As Maya walked through Pioneer Square afterward, the sounds of the city seemed to mock her efforts. Street musicians played melancholy tunes, and the distant sound of construction hammered home the reality of another door closing. Her phone buzzed with a text from her roommate Sarah. "How did it go?" Maya typed back, "Same as always." They can't see past the cane. But Maya had one more interview that day. Apex Innovations, a tech startup known for its inclusive culture, had scheduled her for 2 p.m. Founded by CEO Marcus Thompson, a former Microsoft executive who had built his reputation on recognizing untapped potential, Apex was her last hope in Seattle's competitive job market. The Apex building stood in sharp contrast to Meridian's corporate coldness. Located in a converted warehouse in the Capitol Hill district, it buzzed with creative energy. The walls were covered in colorful murals, and Maya could hear the gentle hum of collaboration spaces filled with passionate voices. "Maya, welcome to Apex!" The enthusiastic voice belonged to Lisa Park, the HR director. "Marcus is running a few minutes late, but I'd love to show you around first." As they walked through the office, Lisa described the open concept workspace, the meditation room, and the wall of employee achievements. Maya appreciated the detailed descriptions, but more importantly, she could sense something different here. An energy that suggested creativity flourished in this space. "Maya?" A warm, deep voice interrupted her thoughts. "I'm Marcus Thompson. Thank you for coming in today." Marcus's handshake was firm and genuine. As they settled into his office, which Lisa described as having floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Seattle skyline, Maya felt a glimmer of hope. "I've reviewed your portfolio," Marcus began. "Your case studies are remarkable. The campaign you developed for the local nonprofit increased their donations by 65%. That's not luck. That's understanding human motivation at a deep level." "Thank you," Maya replied. "I believe marketing success comes from authentic emotional connection. When you truly understand what drives people, you can create messages that resonate in powerful ways." "Tell me," Marcus leaned forward, "how do you approach visual campaigns when you can't see the final product?" Maya smiled. This was the question she'd been waiting for. "Mr. Thompson, I may not see colors, but I understand their psychological impact. I may not see facial expressions, but I can write copy that makes people smile. I collaborate with visual designers, but I bring something unique. I focus purely on the emotional core of every message." Interesting perspective, Marcus mused. "We're actually working on a campaign for a major client, a luxury hotel chain that wants to rebrand around authentic experiences. How would you approach that?" Maya paused thoughtfully. "Luxury isn't about what you show people, it's about how you make them feel. Instead of focusing on thread counts and marble finishes, I'd create a campaign around sensory memories, the sound of waves that makes you feel peaceful, the scent of fresh flowers that reminds you of home, the texture of quality that you can feel even in the dark. Luxury you can sense, because the best experiences engage all your senses, not just sight." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then Maya heard him writing notes. "Maya, I'd like you to meet the team. Are you available to stay another hour?" Hope fluttered in Maya's chest, but she'd learned not to get too excited. Still, as Lisa led her to meet the creative team, Maya felt something she hadn't experienced in months, the possibility that someone might finally see her potential instead of just her blindness. The team meeting went better than Maya had dared hope. Creative director James Wilson appreciated her fresh perspective on their current campaigns, and social media manager Rebecca Chen, no relation despite the shared surname, was intrigued by Maya's ideas about audio-first content strategy. As the day wound down, Marcus walked Maya to the elevator. "Maya, I won't lie, this would be new territory for us, but I built this company on the belief that different perspectives create breakthrough ideas. I'd like to offer you a 3-month trial position as junior marketing strategist." Maya's heart raced. "Mr. Thompson, I accept. Thank you for this opportunity. Report Monday at 9 a.m. and Maya, I have a feeling you're going to surprise a lot of people." As Maya walked through the Seattle streets toward the bus stop, her white cane tapping rhythmically against the sidewalk, she felt a lightness she hadn't experienced in years. The sounds of the city, car horns, conversation, the distant ferry horn on Elliott Bay, no longer seemed overwhelming. They were simply the soundtrack to a new chapter of her life. Her phone buzzed with a call from her mother in Portland. "How were the interviews, sweetheart?" "Mom," Maya said, unable to contain her smile, "I think I just found where I belong." Maya's first week at Apex Innovations felt like drinking from a fire hose. The office operated at a breakneck pace, with multiple client projects running simultaneously and deadlines that seemed to shift daily. But unlike her previous experiences, here Maya felt included rather than accommodated. Her desk, positioned near the window in the main workspace, had been equipped with a high-quality braille display and screen reader software. More importantly, her colleagues made natural efforts to include her in visual discussions. "Maya, I'm sharing the mock-up on screen now," James would say during team meetings. "It's a beach scene with warm golden tones, couple walking hand in hand at sunset, and the hotel's logo in elegant script at the bottom right. The emotional tone feels right," Maya would respond, "but what if we tested the copy with more sensory language? Instead of escape to paradise, what about feel paradise around you?" By Thursday of her first week, Maya had already contributed to 3 client presentations and earned nods of approval from the senior team, but she could sense underlying tensions she couldn't quite identify. During lunch break, she overheard Rebecca talking to another colleague near the coffee machine. "I mean, she's sweet and everything," Rebecca whispered, "but are we really going to pretend this isn't affecting productivity? Every visual meeting takes twice as long now because we have to describe everything." Maya felt her stomach tighten. She had sensed the subtle sighs, the moments of hesitation when visual elements were discussed. The extra effort her colleagues made was appreciated, but she hadn't realized the toll it was taking on the team's rhythm. That evening, Maya stayed late at the office. The building grew quiet as her colleagues departed, leaving only the gentle hum of computers and the distant sound of Seattle traffic. She had always done her best thinking in solitude, and tonight she needed to process the growing realization that despite Marcus's enthusiasm, she might not be fitting in as seamlessly as she had hoped. As she worked on refining campaign concepts for their hotel client, Maya heard footsteps approaching her desk. "Burning the midnight oil?" Marcus's voice was warm but concerned. "Just finishing up some ideas," Maya replied, not wanting to admit she was questioning her place on the team. Marcus pulled up a chair beside her desk. "Maya, how are you really doing? And I want an honest answer." Maya hesitated. Marcus had given her this opportunity, and she didn't want to seem ungrateful, but his tone suggested he genuinely wanted the truth. "It's challenging," she admitted. Not the work. I love the projects, but I can sense that some team members feel like they have to constantly adjust their processes for me. I don't want to be a burden. Interesting, Marcus mused. What if I told you that forcing the team to articulate visual concepts more clearly has actually improved our client presentations? James mentioned that explaining designs out loud has helped him identify weak elements he might have missed otherwise. Maya felt a small surge of hope, but uncertainty remained. Maya, can I share something with you? Marcus continued. When I started this company, I was obsessed with hiring people who looked like successful marketers. Polished, articulate, visually sophisticated. But our breakthrough moment came when we hired Danny, our lead developer. He has severe social anxiety and barely speaks in meetings, but his code is poetry. He taught me that talent doesn't always present itself the way we expect. Thank you, Maya said softly. I needed to hear that. There's something else, Marcus added. We have a major presentation next week for Cascade Hotels. It's our biggest potential client, and they're specifically looking for innovative approaches to experiential marketing. I'd like you to lead the strategy development. Maya's pulse quickened. Lead the strategy? Are you sure? Maya, your luxury you can sense concept has become the foundation of our entire pitch. You understand experiential marketing better than anyone on our team because you live it every day. Over the weekend, Maya threw herself into preparing for the Cascade Hotels presentation. She researched the company's history, analyzed their current marketing approach, and developed a comprehensive strategy that went far beyond traditional visual advertising. Her approach centered on creating sensory brand memories, campaigns that engaged all 5 senses to create lasting emotional connections with customers. She proposed partnerships with local artisans to create signature scents for each hotel location, curated playlists that reflected regional musical traditions, and tactile experiences that guests would associate with the brand long after checkout. But Maya knew the presentation needed something more, something that would demonstrate the emotional power of non-visual experiences in a way that would resonate with visually oriented executives. Sunday evening, as she sat in her Capitol Hill apartment, inspiration struck. Maya had always been artistic, though she rarely shared this aspect of herself professionally. In college, she had discovered tactile painting, a technique that relied on texture, pressure, and spatial relationships rather than color and traditional visual elements. Using thick acrylic paints, textured mediums, and even unconventional materials like sand and fabric, she created artworks that told stories through touch. She hadn't painted in months, but the Cascade Hotels project had awakened something creative within her. Working through the night, Maya created a piece that embodied her vision for experiential marketing. The canvas was alive with texture, smooth areas representing tranquility, rough patches symbolizing adventure, and flowing lines that guided the viewer's hand across emotional landscapes. When she stepped back, metaphorically speaking, Maya knew she had created something special, but more importantly, she had found a way to communicate her marketing philosophy in a language that transcended words and traditional presentations. Monday morning arrived with typical Seattle drizzle. Maya carefully transported her painting to the office, wrapped in protective cloth. She hadn't told anyone about her plan to include the artwork in the presentation. It felt too vulnerable, too risky. The Cascade Hotels team was scheduled to arrive at 10 a.m. Maya spent the early morning hours with James and Rebecca, rehearsing their joint presentation. The energy felt positive, collaborative, and Maya's confidence grew with each run-through. Maya, your sensory marketing framework is brilliant, James admitted. I've been in this business for 8 years, and I've never thought about brand experiences from this angle. Rebecca nodded enthusiastically. The partnership ideas with local artisans could revolutionize how hotels think about regional identity. At 9:45 a.m., Maya made a decision. She unwrapped her painting and placed it on an easel near the presentation area. Maya, what's that? Rebecca asked curiously. It's a visual representation of the emotional journey I'm proposing for Cascade Hotels, Maya explained, her voice less confident than usual. James approached the painting, his footsteps stopping abruptly. Maya, did you create this? Yes, I know it might seem strange, but this is extraordinary, James interrupted. The texture, the flow, the way it makes you want to explore it with your hands. Maya, this perfectly captures what you've been saying about experiential marketing. Before Maya could respond, Lisa's voice announced over the office intercom. The Cascade Hotels team has arrived. Maya's heart pounded as she heard the approaching footsteps of what could be the most important meeting of her career. The Cascade Hotels delegation entered the conference room like a force of nature. Maya could sense their presence before the formal introductions began. Expensive cologne, confident strides, and the subtle rustle of premium business attire that spoke of corporate success. "Good morning, everyone," came the authoritative voice of Catherine Morrison, Cascade's chief marketing officer. "I'm looking forward to seeing what Apex has developed for us." Maya felt Marcus's reassuring presence beside her as the team settled around the conference table. Through the large windows, she could hear the gentle patter of Seattle rain, but inside the room, tension crackled with anticipation. "Before we begin," Marcus announced, "I'd like to introduce Maya Chen, our strategic lead on this project. Maya, the floor is yours." Maya stood, her prepared notes in Braille resting on the table beside her. She had rehearsed this moment countless times, but now, facing potential clients who might judge her before hearing her ideas, her mouth felt dry. "Ms. Morrison, members of the Cascade team," Maya began, her voice finding strength as she spoke, "when you think about your most cherished travel memory, what comes to mind first?" Catherine Morrison shifted in her seat. "I'm sorry, I thought we were here to discuss marketing strategies, not personal anecdotes." "Bear with me for a moment," Maya continued gently. "Is it a photograph? Or is it the sound of waves outside your window, the scent of jasmine in the evening air, the feeling of sand between your toes?" The room grew quieter, more attentive. "Traditional hospitality marketing focuses on showing people beautiful spaces," Maya continued, walking slowly around the table. "But luxury isn't just visual, it's deeply sensory. At Cascade Hotels, you're not just selling accommodations, you're selling memories that guests will carry for decades." James activated the presentation screen, and Maya heard the familiar click of the remote. "Maya, I'm displaying your sensory marketing framework now." "The framework you're seeing divides guest experience into 5 sensory touch points," Maya explained. "But rather than just tell you about this approach, I'd like to demonstrate why it matters." Maya had rehearsed this moment, but her heart still raced as she approached the easel holding her painting. "This artwork represents the emotional journey of a luxury hotel experience," she said, gently removing the protective cloth. "I created it using tactile painting techniques, and I'd like to invite you to experience it the way I do." The silence in the room was profound. Maya couldn't see the executives' faces, but she could sense their surprise, confusion, and perhaps skepticism. "I'm sorry," Catherine Morrison said slowly, "but I'm not sure what you're asking us to do." "I'm asking you to close your eyes and explore this piece with your hands," Maya replied. "To understand that powerful brand experiences engage more than just sight." The request was unprecedented. Maya knew she was asking corporate executives to step outside their comfort zones in a way that might seem unprofessional or strange. "This is—" one of the Cascade team members began, his voice trailing off uncertainly. Marcus's voice cut through the tension. "Ms. Morrison, Maya's approach has revolutionized how we think about experiential marketing. Would you be willing to try something different?" Maya held her breath. Everything depended on this moment. Not just her career at Apex, but her belief that people could see beyond traditional limitations if given the chance. "All right," Catherine Morrison said finally, "but this better be going somewhere meaningful." Maya guided Catherine to the painting, gently taking her hand. "Feel the texture here," she said, placing Catherine's palm on a smooth section of the canvas. "This represents the moment a guest first enters your lobby. Everything should feel polished, welcoming, effortless." Catherine's fingers explored the surface, and Maya could sense her resistance beginning to soften. "Now move to this area," Maya continued, guiding Catherine's hand to a section with raised, swirling textures. "This is the excitement of discovery, finding unexpected details that make a stay memorable. Notice how the texture leads your hand in a specific direction?" One by one, other members of the Cascade team approached the painting. Maya watched them through sound and subtle movements, hearing their quiet exclamations of surprise and interest. "The rough patch here," Maya explained to the group, "represents challenge, not obstacles, but the satisfying effort that makes rewards feel earned. A steep hike that leads to a breathtaking view, a local market that requires navigating language barriers but offers incredible authentic experiences." James took over the presentation, displaying research data that supported Maya's sensory marketing approach. "Maya's framework isn't just theoretical," he explained. Hotels that implement multisensory branding see 23% higher guest satisfaction scores and 31% better online review ratings. Rebecca presented case studies of successful sensory marketing campaigns, but Maya could tell the room's energy had shifted. The painting had done something that statistics and PowerPoints couldn't. It had created a shared experience that transcended traditional business communication. Maya, Catherine Morrison said, her voice notably warmer than when the meeting began. Tell me about the implementation. How do we translate this philosophy into actual marketing campaigns? Maya felt a surge of excitement. They were engaged, really engaged. For Cascade, I'm proposing we create sensory signatures for each of your hotel locations, Maya explained, returning to the presentation area. Your Napa Valley property would have a signature scent, blending lavender and oak, original acoustic music featuring local wine country sounds, and textural elements that guests associate with wine country luxury. She continued detailing her vision, partnerships with local artisans, custom amenities that engage touch and smell, and marketing campaigns that promised the luxury you feel, not just see. Your Miami location, Maya continued, would have completely different sensory signatures, ocean-inspired scents, Latin music influences, and textures that evoke coastal sophistication. The presentation concluded with a comprehensive timeline for implementation and measurable ROI projections. Maya had learned that even the most innovative ideas needed to speak the language of business results. As the Cascade team prepared to leave, Catherine Morrison approached Maya directly. Maya, I have to admit, when I walked in here and saw your presentation setup, I was skeptical. But what you've shown us today isn't just marketing. It's a completely new way of thinking about hospitality. Thank you, Miss Morrison, Maya replied. I believe the best experiences happen when we engage people's hearts, not just their eyes. How long have you been working in experiential marketing? Catherine asked. Maya hesitated. This is actually my first month at Apex. Before this, I struggled to find companies willing to look beyond traditional qualifications. Catherine was quiet for a moment. Maya, I started my career 30 years ago, and I thought I'd seen every possible approach to hospitality marketing. Today, you've shown me something entirely new. That's rare in this industry. After the Cascade team departed, the Apex office buzzed with excitement. Maya's colleagues surrounded her, offering congratulations and asking questions about her painting technique. Maya, that was incredible, Rebecca said. I've never seen executives respond to a presentation like that. James nodded enthusiastically. The way you got them to physically experience your concept, it was genius. But Maya noticed Marcus standing quietly by the window, looking thoughtful rather than celebratory. Marcus? Maya approached him. Did something go wrong? Marcus turned, his expression serious but not disappointed. Maya, we need to talk. But first, let me ask you something. Why didn't you tell us you were an artist? Maya felt her stomach tighten. I didn't think it was relevant to marketing work. Most employers see art as a hobby, not a professional skill. Maya, what you did today wasn't just marketing, Marcus said quietly. It was transformative. You didn't just propose a campaign, you created an experience that changed how those executives think about their entire industry. Is that good? Maya asked uncertainly. Marcus smiled for the first time since the presentation ended. Maya, Catherine Morrison just called me. Cascade Hotels doesn't just want to hire Apex for their rebrand. They want to create a new position specifically for you, Director of Experiential Marketing Strategy. Maya felt the world tilt slightly. They want to hire me? Directly? With a salary that's double what we could offer you here, Marcus continued. Maya, this is the kind of opportunity that could define your entire career. Maya was speechless. Just weeks ago, she had been facing rejection after rejection. Now, she was being offered a dream position with one of the country's most prestigious hotel chains. But as the excitement settled, Maya realized this moment represented something much larger than personal success. It was proof that when people looked beyond surface appearances, they could discover talents they never knew existed. Marcus, Maya said finally, I need some time to think. Of course, Marcus replied. But Maya, whatever you decide, know that you've already changed how this entire office thinks about marketing. That painting of yours, it's not coming down. It's staying right here as a reminder that the most powerful ideas don't always come from the most obvious places. As Maya gathered her belongings at the end of the day, she felt the texture of her painting one more time. Each ridge and valley told the story of her journey, the smooth areas representing moments of doubt, the raised sections marking breakthroughs and discoveries. Tomorrow would bring decisions that could reshape her entire future. But tonight, Maya simply wanted to savor the extraordinary feeling of being truly seen for the first time in her professional life. The rain had stopped, and as Maya walked through downtown Seattle, she could smell the fresh, clean scent of a city washed new. It seemed like an appropriate metaphor for whatever came next. The call from Catherine Morrison came at 7:30 a.m. on Friday morning. Maya was still in her pajamas, sipping coffee in her Capitol Hill apartment when her phone buzzed with the number she now recognized. "Maya, I hope I'm not calling too early." Catherine's voice was animated, energetic. "I couldn't wait until business hours. We need to talk about your future with Cascade Hotels." Maya set down her coffee cup, her hand trembling slightly. "Good morning, Miss Morrison. I'm listening. First, I want you to know that your presentation yesterday has created quite a stir in our executive team. We spent 3 hours discussing your sensory marketing framework, and frankly, it's the most innovative approach we've seen in years." Maya felt her heart racing, but she forced herself to remain calm. "I'm glad the concept resonated with your team. Maya, we'd like to offer you the position of Director of Experiential Marketing Strategy, reporting directly to me. The salary is $125,000 with full benefits, and you'd have a team of 5 marketing professionals working under your direction." The number hit Maya like a physical force. 6 months ago, she had been struggling to find any marketing position that would pay her enough to cover rent. Now she was being offered a director-level role with a salary beyond her dreams. "Ms. Morrison, this is incredibly generous," Maya managed. "Can I ask, why me?" "You have access to marketing professionals with decades more experience." Catherine's voice grew thoughtful. "Maya, in 30 years in hospitality marketing, I've seen countless campaigns that looked beautiful but failed to create lasting connections with guests. Yesterday, you showed me that we've been thinking about luxury all wrong. You understand something fundamental about human experience that most marketers miss entirely." "When would you need an answer?" Maya asked. "I know this is a big decision. Take the weekend to consider it. But Maya, I want to be honest with you. We're planning to build our entire rebranding strategy around your sensory marketing framework. With or without you, your ideas are going to reshape how Cascade Hotels approaches guest experience." After the call ended, Maya sat in her quiet apartment, feeling overwhelmed by the magnitude of the opportunity. But alongside excitement, she felt something unexpected: uncertainty. Her phone rang again. This time it was Marcus. "Maya, I assume Catherine has made you an offer?" he said without preamble. "Yes," Maya replied. "Marcus, I want to thank you for—" "Don't thank me yet," Marcus interrupted gently. "Maya, before you make any decisions, would you be willing to come in today? There's something I'd like to show you." An hour later, Maya found herself back in the Apex office, but the energy felt different from usual Friday mornings. The workspace was quieter, more focused, and she could sense an undercurrent of anticipation. Marcus led her to his office, where she could hear other voices: James, Rebecca, and several people she didn't immediately recognize. "Maya," Marcus began, "I want you to meet some people. This is Dr. Sarah Kim from the University of Washington's Business School and David Rodriguez from the Seattle Marketing Institute." Maya shook hands with the newcomers, confused but intrigued. "Maya," Dr. Kim said, "Marcus called us yesterday after your presentation to Cascade Hotels. We'd like to discuss a different kind of opportunity." "I'm not sure I understand," Maya replied. David Rodriguez leaned forward. "Maya, what you demonstrated yesterday represents a fundamental breakthrough in experiential marketing theory. We'd like to offer you a position as a research fellow, developing sensory marketing frameworks that could revolutionize the entire hospitality industry." Dr. Kim added, "The fellowship would be based here at Apex, but you'd also teach graduate seminars at the University of Washington and publish research that could influence marketing practices nationwide." Maya felt the room spinning slightly. In the span of 24 hours, she had gone from being a probationary junior employee to having multiple career paths that seemed almost impossibly good. "I don't understand," Maya said. "Why is everyone suddenly interested in what I have to offer?" Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. Maya, what you created yesterday wasn't just a successful presentation. You proved that disability can be a source of innovation rather than limitation. Your blindness didn't hinder your marketing abilities. It enhanced them in ways that nobody, including me, fully understood until yesterday. James spoke up from across the room. Maya, since your presentation, I've been rethinking every campaign I've ever created. You've shown us that we've been ignoring 4 of the 5 senses in our work. That's not just innovative, it's revolutionary. Rebecca nodded enthusiastically. The painting you created has become the most talked about piece in Seattle's marketing community. People are calling it a paradigm shift in how we think about brand experience. Maya felt tears beginning to form, but these weren't tears of sadness or frustration. They were tears of recognition and validation. Maya, Dr. Kim continued, the research fellowship would allow you to study sensory marketing scientifically, to understand why your approaches work so effectively, and to teach others how to implement similar strategies. The salary would be competitive with Cascade's offer, Marcus added, but more importantly, you'd be creating knowledge that could help thousands of marketing professionals serve their clients better. Maya took a deep breath, trying to process everything she was hearing. Can I ask you all something honestly? A month ago, I couldn't get hired for an entry-level marketing position. Now I have 2 incredible offers. What's really changed? The room was quiet for a moment. Then Marcus spoke. Maya, nothing about you has changed. You've always had these talents, this insight, this creative ability. What changed is that you found an environment where people were willing to see past their assumptions about what talent looks like. And, Dr. Kim added, you stopped hiding your unique perspective. That painting, your tactile approach to understanding concepts, your focus on non-visual experiences, these aren't accommodations for your blindness. They're professional superpowers that you've learned to leverage. Maya felt a profound shift happening within herself. For years, she had tried to minimize her differences, to prove she could succeed despite her blindness. But yesterday's presentation had succeeded precisely because of her unique perspective, not in spite of it. I need to make a decision, Maya said finally. Actually, Marcus said with a smile, you need to make 2 decisions. First, do you accept one of these opportunities? And second, which path feels right for your future? Maya spent the rest of Friday in deep contemplation. She walked through her favorite neighborhoods in Seattle, touching familiar textures, listening to the sounds that had become the soundtrack of her life, and thinking about what success really meant to her. The Cascade offer represented immediate financial security and the chance to implement her ideas on a large scale. The research fellowship offered the opportunity to create lasting change in how the marketing industry understood sensory experiences. But as she sat in a coffee shop in Pike Place Market, listening to the vendors call out their daily specials and tourists discover unexpected treasures, Maya realized that both opportunities represented something more fundamental, the chance to help others see the world differently. Saturday morning, Maya called Catherine Morrison first. Ms. Morrison, I'm incredibly honored by your offer, and I'd like to propose something different. Catherine's voice was cautious. I'm listening. I'd like to accept the position, but with a modification. I'd like to work as a consultant for Cascade while also maintaining a research affiliation with the University of Washington. I believe the combination of practical implementation and academic research would benefit both organizations. There was a long pause. Maya, that's actually brilliant. You could test theories with real guests and immediately apply research findings to our campaigns. Exactly. And the research could help other hospitality companies implement sensory marketing approaches, which would ultimately benefit the entire industry. Let me discuss this with our executive team, but Maya, I think you've just proposed the perfect solution. Maya's second call was to Marcus. Marcus, I'd like to accept both opportunities if possible. I want to maintain my connection to Apex while also working with Cascade and the university. Marcus laughed. Maya, you realize you're essentially creating a new career path that didn't exist before this week? I suppose I am, Maya replied, smiling. Is that okay? Maya, it's more than okay. It's exactly what I hoped would happen when I hired you. Monday morning brought a new kind of energy to Maya's life. She would spend 3 days a week at Cascade Hotel's corporate headquarters, 2 days at Apex working on research and university projects, and weekends developing the sensory marketing curriculum that would become her doctoral dissertation. But the real transformation was internal. Maya no longer approached her work as someone overcoming limitations. She approached it as someone whose unique perspective created unique value. Her first Cascade team meeting included 15 marketing professionals eager to learn about sensory marketing implementation. Maya stood before them, no longer nervous about being the only blind person in the room, but confident in her expertise. Traditional marketing asks what people want to see, Maya began. Sensory marketing asks what people want to feel. Today, we're going to explore the difference and how that difference can transform the hospitality experience. As she spoke, Maya realized that her journey had come full circle. The rejections, the doubts, the moments of wondering if she would ever find her place. All of it had led to this moment where she was teaching others to expand their definition of what was possible. Her painting still hung in the Apex office, now accompanied by a small plaque that read, "Different perspectives create breakthrough innovations, Maya Chen, 2024. But Maya's favorite part of her new life wasn't the recognition or the salary or even the groundbreaking work she was doing. It was the emails she received from other professionals with disabilities who had heard her story and found the courage to pursue their own dreams. Each message reminded Maya that her greatest success wasn't changing how the marketing industry thought about sensory experiences. It was proving that talent and innovation could come from the most unexpected places. On Friday evenings, Maya often returned to that same coffee shop in Pike Place Market. She would sit by the window, listening to the sounds of the city, feeling the warmth of the Seattle sun on her face, and thinking about how dramatically her life had changed. She had started her journey believing she needed to prove she could succeed despite her blindness. She had discovered instead that her blindness was integral to her success, not as an obstacle to overcome, but as a source of insight that others couldn't access. As Maya sat in the coffee shop one evening, a young woman approached her table. "Excuse me," the woman said hesitantly. "Aren't you Maya Chen, the marketing consultant?" Maya smiled. "Yes, I am. I'm starting my own business, and I've been following your work on sensory marketing. I wanted to thank you. Your story has inspired me to approach my business differently." "How so?" Maya asked. "I'm deaf, and I always thought I'd have to work around my hearing loss. But watching your success has made me realize that my perspective on visual communication might actually be an advantage in my field." Maya felt her heart warm. "What kind of business are you starting?" "Visual storytelling for social media," the woman replied. "I understand visual narrative in ways that hearing people might miss because I experience all stories visually. Your work taught me that what makes me different might actually make me better at what I do." After the woman left, Maya sat quietly, reflecting on the ripple effects of her journey. She had never intended to become a symbol of anything. She had simply wanted to find a place where her talents could flourish. But in the process, she had discovered something profound about the nature of innovation and success. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sarah, her roommate. "Saw the article about you in Seattle Business Journal. Local marketing consultant revolutionizes hospitality industry. I'm so proud of you." Maya smiled, thinking back to that October morning when she had stood outside Meridian Creative Agency, hoping for just one chance to prove herself. She had gotten much more than that. She had found a way to help an entire industry see the world through new eyes. As evening settled over Seattle, Maya gathered her things and headed home. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities to apply sensory marketing principles, and new chances to show others that the most powerful innovations often come from perspectives that seem, at first glance, unlikely to succeed. Walking through the streets of Capitol Hill, Maya listened to the symphony of sounds that had become the soundtrack to her transformed life. Footsteps on wet pavement, distant music from open restaurant doors, the gentle whoosh of buses carrying people to their own destinations and dreams. She had learned that success wasn't about overcoming who you are. It was about fully becoming who you are and finding the right environment for your unique gifts to flourish. Maya Chen had started her journey as a blind job candidate that everyone rejected. She had become a visionary who taught others to see the world in entirely new ways, and this, she realized, was just the beginning.